So hi everybody and welcome to my second video about EFT. So in this video I'm going to be explaining more about how EFT works, and I have prepared a few things to help me with that. So I've drawn a picture of a heart, and I've drawn a picture of kind of fear, as I would like to talk today more about fear and how we can actually help to tap the fear out, or how we can tap on that fear. So today's video will be about fear and how we can get from a place of fear to a place of love. So what happens is, when we are tapping on the acupuncture points, calming messages are sent to the amygdala part of the brain, and also the negative responses in our bodies will be changed to positive ones. So what happens is that if we experience a trauma, the negative responses which happen then will be ingrained in our subconscious mind, and we will be spending the rest of our lives living these programs, and they might not be very helpful. And so what happens in EFT, that we shall tap on that fear, and while we tap on that fear, we'll be replacing it with more love and with more harmony in our bodies. So basically what happens is we do the tap, 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 the fear, we tap on the fear, and what's happening is that the fear responses in our body will be just replaced with the loving responses. So it works a little bit like that is being replaced by that. So the fearful responses are being replaced by the happy responses. So I would do a little bit of an example here. So I thought a good thing would be to tap on the fear we have about how we shall be accepted by others. And I think this is especially very relevant on Facebook, because often people get triggered by what other people say, and this trigger and this fear often comes from the fear that we shall not be loved, we shall be on our own, we shall be abandoned. And so if I say we'll do the setup, like if you remember from the first video, we do the setup on the karate chop, and we would say, even though I've got this fear that other people will not accept me, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I'm this scared, I'm afraid that other people will not accept me, I love and accept myself anyway. Now the phrase I love and accept myself anyway, which is part of the acceptance, and it's good it's there, some people might find it hard to say. So another alternative to that could be, even though I'm scared that people might not accept me, I allow for this fear, I allow to release this fear. So we are embracing the fear in the first instance, but then we are allowing for the possibility of releasing that fear. And very often people would be asking, well, why do we need to refer to this fear? What's the point of that? Wouldn't it just be better to be concentrating on the positives? And yes, concentrating on the positives is really good, but unless we are able to embrace this fear first, we are not going to be able to clear that fear. It's like when you are clearing the house, you first need to look at the dirt in the house, and then you clean it. Some schools of EFT actually say that tapping on the positives will help, But I personally don't believe that, because unless you are able to embrace that fear, like if a child is crying, you're not going to send that child away. You're going to welcome that child and say things will be okay, we'll work on that fear together. So that's what it is. So after the setup, even though I've got this fear that people will not like me, that I will not be accepted, that I will be rejected, I love and accept myself anyway. I allow for the fear to let it go. I accept the way things are, because don't forget, the acceptance is part of that. So we start tapping at the top of our head. This fear, this fear, this fear, this fear, this fear that I will be rejected. Just repeat. This fear I will not be liked. This fear of rejection. This fear of rejection. Under the arm is this fear of rejection. This fear. People will not like me. I will be rejected. This fear. This fear. And after that round of tapping, just put your hand on in your heart center, take a deep breath. And just tune in to how you feel. What is the intensity of that fear now? Has it gone up, perhaps? Or has it gone down? Or is that the same? And another way of tapping on this fear is that you can ask yourself, do I feel this fear anywhere in my body? Because that fear will often be expressed in the body. So if I say, okay, I've got butterflies in my stomach, we can tap on that. We can tap on the butterflies in the stomach, because the butterflies in the stomach are expression of that fear. So that will allow us to continue to tap on that fear and trying to bring it down to zero. And if not to zero, at least to reduce it from a very high 10 to a lower 7 or 8, because even if you don't manage to reduce your fear in the very first session of tapping or in the very first round of tapping, just continue doing that, because eventually the fear will come down. And there are also various aspects which contribute to that fear, and one needs to tap through all these aspects, through all these negative memories, all one time at a time. And it might, the more chronic the fear is, the longer it is going to tap this fear out. So I will continue demonstrating that now that you tapped through the fear. Say, I feel it in my stomach. So I will start to tap again on the karate chop. I will start the setup. Even though I've got these butterflies in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I've got these butterflies in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I've got these butterflies in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. And if you just tap and continue repeating after me, and even if you don't have butterflies in your stomach, you can just think of wherever else it is in your body, and you can just continue. And even this is very interesting thing about tapping, is that actually people get borrowing benefits, it is called in EFT. And if you are in a group, if you are tapping with other people and you tap on what they say, you will still be getting the healing benefits from that tapping, because we all have very similar issues, and the Swiss psychologist Carl Jung, he talks about the collective subconscious, and the collective subconscious here really means that we all have very similar issues. We just manifest them maybe in various things. So some people might be addicted to drugs or alcohol or smoking. Some people will eat too much, some people will work too much, but really we all share the very similar core issues. So even if you tap and say something which does not really apply to you, and you've got a similar problem to the person who is tapping, you will still be getting the healing benefits. And I chose butterflies in the stomach because often that is how people will express the fear. They just say, oh, I've got these butterflies in my stomach. So now we will be continuing the tapping round. So repeat after me and tap on the same points and just say, butterflies in my stomach, middle of the forehead, butterflies in my stomach, in between the eyes, butterflies in my stomach, butterflies in my stomach, this fear, butterflies in my stomach, this fear, this fear, butterfly in my stomach, butterflies in my stomach, this fear, butterflies in my stomach, this fear, this fear. And as we do after each round, again put your hands on your heart center, take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, and now I'm tuning in to the butterflies in my stomach, and actually I can feel they're going now from there, but actually it's moving up to my chest. I can now feel tightness in my chest. And what we shall continue, we shall just following those sensations in the body, we shall following that where that fear is moving. So in the next round, I'll start tapping, say, even though I've got this tightness in my chest, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I've got this tightness in my chest, I choose to allow this fear to go. Even though I've got this tightness in my chest, I love and accept myself anyway. So this tightness in my chest, 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 this fear, this tightness in my chest, this fear, this tightness in my chest, this tightness in my chest, this fear, this tightness in my chest. Okay, take a couple deep breaths again. And I'm going to tune into that feeling, and that tightness in the chest has come down now, and I still got a little bit of tightness left. And it's just a small tightness, and I will continue tapping on it because it's still there, but it has gone down. So I'm going to say in my next tapping round, even though I've got this remaining tightness in my chest, because it's gone down, it's very small now, it's almost gone, but I'm going to tap on that now. So even though I've got this remaining tightness in my chest, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I've got this remaining tightness in my chest, I choose to allow to go of this fear. Even though I've got this remaining tightness in my chest, I love and accept myself anyway. So at the top of the head, this remaining tightness in my chest, this remaining fear, this remaining tightness in my chest, this remaining fear, this remaining tightness in my chest, this remaining tightness. This fear is going. This fear is going, gone. See, the fear's gone now, and I don't need to continue tapping anymore. And so this is basically what we've been doing. We've been tapping on that fear, and now the fear's gone, and a more loving response allowed for a more loving response to come instead. And I can share something from my own experience, and that is about my illness. And I know that if the mind does not express things, the body will express it. And I've been chronically ill for many years now, and I know that fear is behind that illness. And even though I've done things in my life, I've been brave, and I've been doing things that people thought they couldn't do because they would be scared. I've done really brave things in my life. That did not extinguish that fear. I was living in a state of fear, and my ancestors, my family, they did not have a very good way of dealing with grief. And so very often they would just like to push away. If someone died, they wouldn't want to concern themselves with it. They did not allow themselves to grieve. I remember my grandmother, she would always try to do things. She would always busy herself, her kitchen, you know, she was always there. And if she couldn't do these things, if she couldn't work in her kitchen, if she couldn't look after us when I was a child and everything else, suddenly that fear element would come. She wouldn't be happy. She never liked being ill, because if she was ill, she couldn't busy herself, and she didn't like it. And so yeah, I've been for several decades now, I've been trying to learn more about this fear and how I can let it go with EFT and other techniques. And yeah, it's a learning journey for me. And even though the illness has been horrific, I'm actually glad that I've gone on this journey, because I learned more about myself, about who I am. And if I was kind of not well, and I suppose I would be just busy in my life, I don't think I would be able to connect with my soul, because I believe that, or many other people have said, that basically illness is language of our souls. And it's very true, because I listen to my soul now more, and I'm getting more in touch. And also, you know, today would have been my husband's birthday, and he passed away a couple of years ago, and I'm kind of able to connect with his soul too now, and I think probably even better now than when he was alive. And you know, these are things which I'm very grateful for. So there are negative bits to it, but I'm also grateful that I can help other people. And you know, I wanted to be a doctor, or one of the professions I wanted to be was a doctor. And I knew I couldn't be a doctor because I was just too ill. But today I'm kind of glad, because today I'm helping people in better ways that doctor can help, because doctors will only ever manage to heal or to treat the symptoms of an illness, but they will not be able to actually access the root causes. And I know that with the way I'm helping people, I'm really helping to go to the root causes and to help them heal. And it is a much better, much more effective way of healing, because, like, for example, when my husband, when he had his cancer treatment, you know, he actually did not die of cancer. He died of the consequences of the cancer treatment, from the radiation treatment. He couldn't breathe, he couldn't swallow, and at the end he got pneumonia. And he was free of cancer for 5 years by then. And the reason why cancers do often come back, or people, why these cancers come back, is because the doctors can just heal the symptoms or take the diseased organ out, but they actually don't know how to help people heal the root causes and how to change their lifestyle so the cancer doesn't actually come back. So yeah, so I'm very glad that I'm able to help people with EFT, because with EFT that actually can then help to heal the root causes. And that's basically it. That's about how EFT works. That's the second video, and I shall make more videos. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments, and or if you are working on some issues which you would like to make changes, positive changes for the better, just put it in your comments and I will make some videos on that in the future.